DreAllDay.com.
Before we start, please like and comment on this video so I can get your feedback. Also, click that subscribe button so you can get all the new content I'm dropping on this channel. And the free book, the mental handbook, physical book, Work on Your Game University, just take care of the shipping and handling, send this right to your doorstep. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. We are back with the 2017 NBA season previews, team by team. Today we are talking about the Charlotte Hornets, who finished as the number 6 seed in the East last year. They were actually in a 4-way tie in actual victories and losses, but they ended up as a 6th seed because with the tiebreakers and all that. Lost to the Miami Heat in 7 games. 7 games? Yes, in the first round series last year. Can they get back there? Can they get back to the playoffs? Can they win a playoff series? Is that possible? Looking at this team, we got to see. Let's look at it together. They got a lot of names on this roster at this moment. Excuse me, I'm recording this in mid-September. This is before training camps have opened, so any changes or trades or anything like that happens, I'm not privy to as of this recording. So I'm just going to go off of what I see, and I'm going to go off the players who I know will probably be on the roster, not the training camp guys who I don't really know that well. But let's look at what they got. They got a guy named Andrew Andrews, so shout out to Andrew Andrews from Washington. Maybe he's a rookie or a second-year guy. Nicholas Batum. The Hornets made a big investment in Batum. They're paying him $20 million a year, and he's a good, solid player. He's better than I thought he was. He's a solid role player, a good veteran for the team. He can hit that outside shot, score a little bit in the post, play solid defense, a guy who doesn't take anything off the table. That's what I like about Nicholas Batum. Nicholas Batum can be a starter on a championship team, I believe. Now, are the Hornets a championship team? I don't think so, but he could be a starter on a team that wins a championship because he doesn't take anything off the table. He brings solid things to the table. So that's praise for Nick Batum. Marco Bellinelli, okay. Tyler Hansbrough's on the team. I don't think you get much from Tyler Hansbrough. I think we know what Tyler Hansbrough is. He is who he is. Is Tyler Hansbrough playing? Is he on the rotation on a team that wins the championship? In the rotation, I say no, he's not. He would not be in the rotation. Could he be on the roster? Could he be on the team? Play hard in practice every day? Yes. But is he playing? If he's in the top 8 of your roster, you're not a championship contending team, Tyler Hansbrough. Not to say he's a bad player, but this is the measuring stick that I'm using. If you're winning a championship, where does this guy fit? And then look at where he fits on the team that he's on right now. So that's why I keep using that on different teams. Spencer Hawes, a LeBron James hater. Spencer Hawes, when he was playing, who was he playing for? Spencer Hawes was playing for the Sixers during the Heat's Big 3 reign, and he used to always, on social media, I don't even follow the guy, but his tweets would get around that he would always say negative things about the Heat. So I don't know what his problem was with the Heat, or maybe it was just LeBron James, maybe it was Dwayne Wade, who knows? But he would always say things that would be interesting to me. So that's my take on Spencer Hawes. Not even saying nothing about his game. Roy Hibbert. Finally out of Indiana, where it wasn't too long ago where Roy Hibbert was like the perfect big man in the NBA. Don't need to get the ball too much, had the verticality thing down to a science. Roy Hibbert got the verticality thing down to a damn science. He was like the LeBron James stopper. Roy Hibbert was the LeBron James stopper, even though he wasn't even guarding LeBron James, just because of that ability he came up with in playing that verticality, not drawing fouls, but protecting the rim the way that he was protecting the rim. Then all of a sudden the bottom fell out from under Roy Hibbert. I don't know what the hell happened. He was like the most coveted big guy in the league because LeBron James was the man. You're going to beat LeBron James, you got to figure out a way to stop him at the rim. Roy Hibbert was the guy to do it. And then all of a sudden everything fell out. And Roy Hibbert is now like a dinosaur in the NBA. He's a big man who is only a big man. He's an under the basket, back to the basket guy. He is not an outside shooter. He's not making any 3-pointers. He can't put the ball on the floor. He can't guard in space anyone other than a big man who's going to play with his back to the basket. And with the way that the league has evolved so quickly, because it went from the Miami Heat, who had these wing athletic guys, Wade and LeBron, even Chris Bosh, driving to the basket and playing above the rim. Roy Hibbert was a guy who was great for defending that. All of a sudden, what happened that quickly, Golden State Warriors win the championship, where they got all these perimeter guys who like to shoot from the outside. They can get to the rim, but they're not high flyers like the Heat guys were. They're guys who are killing you from the outside. They space the floor. They can put 5 guys on the floor who can all hit threes. And if you got a guy on defense who can't guard a guy who can hit threes and also drive to the basket, that guy can't play. Now Roy Hibbert can't even get in the game. He went from being the most coveted big in the league to possibly being nailed to the bench in an important game just because you can't find a place to use Roy Hibbert. So it's crazy how things change that fast. But good thing for Roy Hibbert, as he's still going to make $5 million this season. So I think he can use the money to wipe away his tears. Now, Frank Kaminsky, a big guy coming out of Wisconsin, he can hit the outside shot. Let's see what Frank Kaminsky did last season, because I don't really know. I know he was on the team last year, but let's see what he actually did on the floor. He averaged 7 points, 4 rebounds, half a block a game. He didn't get that much chance to play in the playoffs. He played 27 minutes a game. So actually, let me take that back. His actual playing went up in the playoffs. He only averaged 21 minutes a game in the season, but in the playoffs he played 27 minutes, which is he was in the top 8 rotation during the playoffs. He only shot 30% from the floor in the playoffs, 29% from 3, got you 4 rebounds a game, scored about 7 points per game. So the coaching staff had more, the word I'm looking for, more trust in Frank Kaminsky as the team got to the playoffs, which is that's a vote of confidence for a rookie, Frank Kaminsky. And he's a kind of like a veteran rookie is what I call him. Veteran rookies, guys who play 3 or 4 years in college, then come to the NBA. So he's not the normal quote unquote rookie who gets drafted in the first round. So Frank Kaminsky, I think, will see a lot more playing time this upcoming season because of the way he went out in the playoffs, playing actually more minutes than he played during the season. MKG, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. I don't know why, but it feels like he's been in the NBA for a long time. I said that about several players. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is only 22 years old. He actually turns 23 about a week or two away from when I'm actually recording this video. So he'll be 23 at the start of the season, but he's been in the NBA 4 years. Last year, just looking at his regular season, he only played 7 games. So I think either he got injured at the beginning of the season or he got injured at the end of the season. I don't even know. We're not even going to go off these stats. Let's look at his career stats, what Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is doing, because he was number 3 pick in the draft. So I think he was number 2 pick in the draft. So I think there was a lot expected of MKG coming out of college, maybe more than he was actually capable of. It's not his fault he was picked number 2. I'm sure he wanted to be picked high, but just because you're picked at a certain point doesn't mean you had to have certain skills. But looking at MKG's career, his best season was in 2015. He averaged 10 points, 7.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists. And that's pretty much the most important things I can say about him. No 3-point shooting whatsoever. Last season, he shot 1 3-point shot. Well, it was only 7 games that he played. And he made, actually a respectable percentage, but who knows if he can keep that up for an entire season. I'm not sure Michael Kidd-Gilchrist fits on this team. I think Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is a guy you could put on a team such as, what team could you put him on? Maybe a team like Golden State. Believe it or not, if they want to have 5 guys who can shoot, then you put 1 guy who's not really that great of a shooter. Let MKG be that guy, the athletic guy who can play defense. Maybe. But maybe there's nowhere to put MKG in the way that the NBA plays right now. But maybe Charlotte, with Steve Clifford, their coach, maybe he can figure out somewhere to put Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. But overall, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist has not had the impact that I would expect most teams, fans of teams, would expect from a guy drafted in the top 5 of the draft. Let's look at who else they got. Jeremy Lamb on the team. He's still only 24 years old. Again, another guy feels like he's been around forever. Ramon Sessions and Brian Roberts, both 30-year-old point guards. Rashid Suleiman, coming from Maryland, 22 years old. Kemba Walker, 26. Marvin Williams is 30 years old, another high draft pick. Cody Zeller, 23 years old at center. I think he's definitely part of the future of this team. But let's talk about Mr. Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker's point guard, only 26 years old. He has, let's see, where is he? He was number 2 pick in the draft in 2005. I didn't know no, that's Marvin Williams. I'm looking at the wrong one. I know Kemba Walker ain't been in the league that long. And I know he wasn't picked number 2 in the draft. Let's look at Kemba Walker, is who I meant to pull up here. They had me pull up the wrong person. So the roster that we're looking at here is the Charlotte Hornets. We've talked about who they have. A lot of youth. Obviously, they lost one of their veteran big guys, who was Al Jefferson, who kind of got marginalized out of the system, out of what Charlotte had going last season. I don't know why he got marginalized out of it, but he did get marginalized out of it. I think they wanted to go with more youth, and they also wanted to go with more versatility on the floor. So let's look at the best player on this team, who is Kemba Walker. I think he was the best player even when Al Jefferson was there, but he is the undisputed best player on the team now. Let me pull up his stats. So Kemba averaged 21 points a game last year, 5 assists, 4.5 rebounds, had a PER of 20.87, which is very good. Great season for Kemba Walker. Played 81 games, 36 minutes a game, shoots 43% from the floor, which is not very good, but it is definitely an improvement over the 39% he shot the previous 2 seasons and the 37% he shot his rookie year in the league. Kemba's shooting percentage got a lot better. His three-point percentage got a lot better, up to a respectable 37%. Shoots a high 85% from the free throw line. Gets you a few rebounds, 5 assists. I think his assist numbers need to come up. 1.5 steals every game. Kemba Walker, like I just said, his assist numbers are going to have to come up if this team's going to get to the next level, i.e. winning an actual playoff series. Other than that, I mean, he's going to be who he is. Kemba is who he is. Let me ask a question about Kemba Walker. Where is he on the rotation of a championship winning team? Is Kemba Walker your starting point guard on a team that wins the championship? Unfortunately, Kemba Walker and Charlotte, I keep saying Bobcats, Hornets fans, no, Kemba Walker is not a starting point guard on a team that's going to win a championship in the NBA as presently constructed. The way the NBA looks now, I don't think he's a starting point guard on a championship team. He can be off the bench point guard on a championship team, but as a starter, no. As the best player on the team, can the Hornets win a championship with Kemba Walker? Not a championship, a playoff series with Kemba Walker as their best player. In the Eastern Conference, if the Hornets can get the right playoff seeding, and that means a top 4 seed to where they get home court advantage in a series, they can win a playoff series. But there's some caveats. They got to get home court advantage, and they're gonna have to be playing a weaker team from the Eastern Conference, which very well could exist, looking at what we have in the Eastern Conference this upcoming season, but it very well could not. I think it's going to be a log jam again amongst a bunch of teams, and I think Charlotte Hornets make the playoffs and lose in the first round again. That's my prediction. I think somehow, someway they're going to end up playing Toronto in the first round and they're going to lose. I don't know why I think that, but that's just what I think is going to happen. I think they'll end up as a 7th seed in the East, the Charlotte Hornets. They're not winning the playoff series. And if they do win the playoff series, they're going to get stomped out in the second round by whomever they had to play in the second round. This team is not championship caliber as presently constructed. They're not just let's get another year older together and we'll be ready to compete for a title. I don't think this roster, no matter how old or good the players on the team get, that they are a contender with this roster. Some changes are going to have to be made. They need to bring in a higher impact player, someone who has a higher impact than everyone who's on the team right now, if they're going to be a contending team. This is not a contending team. This is a competing team, but they're not contending. That's my take on the Charlotte Hornets. But you all, Hornets fans, and we know the state of North Carolina has lost some NCAA championship competitions. They lost the damn All-Star game because of this law that got passed, basically going against homosexuals, going against transsexuals. Why did they do that? I don't know. This is not a political discussion, but I did want to mention that now because I know it just recently happened as I'm recording this. NCAA took a bunch of championship competitions out of the state of North Carolina because of that. They even lost their first round NCAA tournament games. But whatever. What do you think about the Hornets? Am I right? Am I wrong about this? Are they going to be better than I said? Worse than I said? About exactly what I said? Is there a player who I haven't mentioned who's going to have real impact that's going to change them from being a competing team to a contending team? If there is, please let me know because I don't know about it. And again, there may be a player I didn't mention, but is that player going to be the difference between them competing and contending? That's what I want to know. If there is, let me know. I want to know. I want to be enlightened by all of you who know better maybe than I know. Next, we are going to the Eastern Conference. We're staying there. We're going to Boston now. Talk about the Boston Celtics. Everybody, work on your game. DreAllDay.com.